So hey everybody, Will Martin from Startup Weekend Cork, and with me today is Hans van Gent. Hans is the European Director of StartupBus. I participated in StartupBus back in October, and we drove from Estonia to Vienna and did effectively a startup weekend on a bus. So Hans, do you want to introduce yourself a bit more?
Yeah, so I'm Hans van Gent. I actually have a full-time job in advertising, hence the nice unicorn behind me here. But next to that, I participate in a lot of events where I try to help early-stage startups get anything off the ground. And one of these things is a startup bus in Europe. Startup bus is basically a bit of a similar concept than a startup weekend. The only two main differentiators are that people are stuck on the bus, so and they are there for a long time, and they can't just easily walk out and grab some fresh air or do easy customer validation by getting out and starting to talk with people. Another big differentiator is because you're traveling, the internet is crappy, so there's a big negative thing there, and I think you can confirm that with me. And the third thing is that with the startup bus, we actually try to focus a little bit more on creating real businesses, even though that business doesn't really have to succeed in the end or even continue after the entire experience. But we basically try to do more with the startup bus is try to cram the entire experience, which you might have as a startup, in 3 days. And making it a bit more intense with that. And I told you, I think earlier a bit as well, is like if what you see happening sometimes on the startup weekend is that some of the most amazing, stupid product ideas are created, which are really awesome by itself, but a lot of times a bit of the business side is forgotten there, and that's one of the things we try to focus on a lot as well.
One of the main differentiators that I've found when I participated on StartupBus back in October is basically the structure. This kind of like bullet point list of, okay, have you set up your Twitter account, your Facebook account, have you written a blog post, have you built your MVP? So maybe you can speak a bit about that kind of checklist that StartupBus implement that might help people at the startup weekend to kind of focus and see what they need to do to build a business rather than an idea.
Yeah, so actually you experienced the list we're using. We call the milestone list firsthand in October, but actually the entire milestone list changes and evolves throughout all the different startup bus events we're running, because every time we got new learnings, we got new feedback, new learnings from the entire startup scene, so we're changing it a little bit. But the most important thing is that we sort of, by giving easily sort of milestones to and have teams focus on that, we try to guide them a bit through the process of what it is to start a company. You can think of easy things like that. Okay, what is the company name, and what does a logo mean for this company then? And if you have a company name and a logo, you need to claim a domain name, and you need to set up a Twitter and a Facebook account to get your early traction going, and write a PR post about what you're doing as a company. Try to get all those things done. There's the more of the business side, which things are in there, like the business model canvas. Okay, what is the actual thing which we're trying to achieve, and how are we going to make money? We also, in the recent years, we put a couple of things in there which we saw happening with different startups talking to venture capitalists. Is, okay, what are the kind of questions people are asking? So things like your total addressable market. Is there a sort of an IP which you're having with your product, or you're infringing somebody else's IP maybe? So have a more overview on what's happening on that side. And of course, there's the things in there like, okay, drawing the wireframes of the product you're building, designing it, building it, and all those different steps. And if you look through all these different steps, then you actually see the three profiles which are the most important as well to form any company. And that's, of course, you need everybody always thinks the developer first. because there's at least some sort of product which needs to be built. But if you look at recent years, of course, if that might be a very nice product, but if it's shitty design, then in the end everybody will turn away and nobody will install it on their phone or will start using it. So design is a more and more important aspect on this. And the third profile is, of course, the business profile, and the business profile is not just the traditional, okay, writing a business plan and try to learn in some money from the bank, but the business profile is more the guy who's actually, he needs to have expertise in technology and design and marketing, because he's the guy who needs to figure out, okay, what is the business model from our team. He's mostly the guy who will do the customer validation. He's mostly the guy who will start writing content for the website, who will start writing content for a blog to try to get some thought leadership out there, so people actually start believing, okay, these guys are not just solving a problem, but they're actually knowing what they're talking about. You know, so especially the business guy is a multi-headed person, and that's I think a lot of the schools don't really teach that.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess that kind of jumps onto, you kind of mentioned there about the business person doing a lot of the customer validation.
Yeah.
So obviously on the startup bus, it's primarily kind of did that through a survey, and I remember some of the guys just like making phone calls to get feedback from people. But given that startup weekend, people can get out of the building and into the city, into the surrounding areas. What kind of advice would you have for people to getting validation?
Well, I think what you need to try to get done is, because it's such a short time frame, of course, you need to, I think as soon as the teams are formed on Friday evening, no actual work behind getting some first rudimentary customer development should be done by the entire team. And what does that mean is that the entire team should think of, okay, what is the primary problem we're trying to solve here? What is the primary sort of target market that we're trying to address here? And what is and not even thinking about a solution yet, because you don't know, if you don't know these first two, there's no reason to start thinking about a solution. And what you need to figure out for yourself as well is like, okay, what is the thing that makes or breaks my business? If I start talking to people and they give me this type of answer, is there still a business then, or is it you know, what's my how do you call it? It's the it's your riskiest assumption. Sorry.
Okay.